here in South Florida. We're lucky enough to be talking with Jay Maq, who is in Venice, California, who is enduring the quarantine like the rest of us. It looks like it's nice and sunny there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It looks like you got at least a beautiful, safe, beautiful place to kind of endure what's going on. You've got a new single coming out. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But tell us a little bit kind of about yourself, kind of who you are, and about your music and how you got started in music.
Okay, so my name's Jay Maq. It's a shortened version of my actual name, which is James McMillan. Getting started in music's pretty simple, kind of traditional, the same way that a lot of R&B artists get started. I grew up in a very church-centric household, so every Sunday morning, Sunday school, church, probably some sort of after service and a concert, same cycle throughout the week. So I actually started singing in the toddler choir, and I think the point where I really decided I really wanted to start pursuing music and learning more was the first time I was handed a solo, first time people started applauding, and it's oh, this is cool, this is great for attention, and I just loved being out front and singing. It just felt good.
Mm-hmm.
From there, started taking voice lessons, had several teachers throughout my K through 12 years, and it's just always kind of stuck. I've always jumped back and forth between R&B music, hip hop, and then sort of musical theater here and there. So it all kind of started at church.
And do you remember the first song that you sang? Do you remember that in church or?
His Eyes on the Sparrow.
His Eyes on the Sparrow. Yeah. I was been a church organist most of my life, so I've had very close ties to church music as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I've played the organ and the piano at several churches, so yeah, I understand it. So,
yeah,
you've been in musicals.
Yeah,
go ahead.
You can never let go of those roots either. Gospel music, every Sunday comes around, even if I'm not in church, it's some hymn just pops into your head. When it came to musical theater, though, I feel everything was very Rodgers and Hammerstein for the area that I grew up in. So I've done and been in Cinderella a few different times, a lot of Phantom of the Opera, mashups and things like that.
Okay. Have you seen Have you seen the touring of Phantom of the Opera? It's an amazing show.
Yes, I have. It is beautiful.
Yeah. It's one of my most favorite shows to see. The touring, the sets, I think are amazing. So
really?
Yeah.
I think I got to see Wicked at the Pantages right before it left here in LA, months and months ago, and that was I really it was just a great experience because I haven't been to the theater in quite some time. So for me, it was oh yes, I'm familiar with this. It feels great, and they did a great job with how they presented it.
Wicked is also one of my favorites. Have you seen the new Aladdin?
No, I haven't.
It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. When Broadway Across America gets going again, you have to get tickets to see Aladdin.
Okay, definitely will add to my to-do list.
It's very good. So, who are some of the people that have inspired you to sing, either pop culture or church or personal?
A lot of it's been pop culture. So I'd say your Monica Brown, Maya, Aaliyah, Whitney Houston, definitely. I would say The Preacher's Wife was probably the first secular movie that I ever saw. So being in that movie led me sort of into the realm of R&B. You got Kelly Price, who's done the back and forth between both.
Yeah.
Who was a major staple and still is a major staple in the hip hop and R&B community. Trey Songz when I was going through college, and R&B and B2K when I was in high school. There's so many influences, and I've just sort of always stayed on that trend of R&B hip hop, but the base has always been gospel.
Yeah. Whitney Houston's one of my favorites too. One of her, someone did a remake of her songs that just came through. So she's a staple.
Nice.
Yeah. Belinda Davids did she does a whole show of her stuff. If you not caught it, she's someone to catch up to. So.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, you gotta check that out. You have a great voice. I've watched your videos. It's actually very good. Tell us a little bit about your coming out story, if you don't mind. I was reading about it. It's very unique. If you want to maybe tell us a little bit about that.
I think it's really interesting because I don't really find it to be too unique. I grew up in North Carolina in a really small town.
Okay.
So there's very little acceptance, very little how can I say it? there's not a lot of exposure to alternative lifestyles. You know, everybody went up and got to church every Sunday. Everyone went to school. Everyone went to work, and that was it. There were no alternative lifestyles. There were no same-sex couples. There was barely even any of it on TV when I was growing up. So for me, the coming out story seemed a little brutal to a lot of people, but I have friends and family who were disowned and pushed out of their homes and have had to find completely different ways of living. For me, it was kind of interesting though, because I told my mother when I was 13, she kind of ignored it and act like it wasn't said, like it was never heard, and we just went about the rest of our lives. And then I think I got frustrated. We were arguing about something in the car about music or secular lifestyles, and I brought it up again, and she just like began to cry and yell, and the whole "why is this happening to me?" very like stereotypical things that you would see in most coming out stories. I think the point of frustration for her was like not knowing how to express that she still loved me and that she still cared. And I mean, that came out a little bit violent because she definitely like punched me in the chest while crying. And you know, later having communication, like conversations with her about it, we both kind of understand I want my child to have the best that he can in life. And from her perspective, with her, there's no way that you can have the best in life being gay here, same sex couple or anything like that. Or that was kind of the perspective that pain kind of comes from.
Yeah. Yeah. Her acceptance of that, you know, not knowing and probably a lot of fear, but then, you know, you helping her to turn that corner and is she one of your biggest fans now or?
Oh yeah. Like even when it was bad, she was always the biggest fan. Like there was, if I said to my mother, "Hey, I want to go get the sheet music. I want to go do this. I want to try out for this play. I want to do this or that." She was always the biggest supporter. You know, she may not, how she puts it is, you know, I may not like your lifestyle, but I love you and I want you to be happy. I want you to be successful. And I think that's why it's painful when you can't understand that lifestyle, where you can't understand certain people's choices, but you still love them and want to see them succeed.
And have you been able to combine your spiritual life still and your sexuality? I know that's a struggle for a lot of people. We work with a lot of churches in the area, and you know, I myself, it's not always an easy balance, and I don't always have the answers. But I try to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, and still, you know, learn from mistakes, and still reach out to people, and still look for leaders, you know, in that kind of way.
Yeah, I totally haven't thrown the baby out with the bathwater. I feel like life is a journey of just continuously learning. And for me, that's taking me down several spiritual paths and just understanding that we're all kind of human and that we all really should just be striving for the best possible life for ourselves and each other. So I haven't really subscribed to any particular religion or faith at this point in my life. It's more about just being like the best human being that I can be and bringing that out to other people as I meet them.
Yeah, and the words, I think, to your new single, "No Love," I like the words to it. It's got a message of trying to chase someone who doesn't love you back, and how difficult that is. I listened to it in depth. I actually took some notes. There's some good words in there about don't say you love me if you don't know what it means, and have you lost your head trying to fall in love with me so hard. And so tell us about your new single. I've really enjoyed listening to it. You've got a great voice, and the video is a lot of fun. I want to get into the making of the video, but tell us about your new video and the kind of the message behind it.
So the overarching message is, one, love yourself first and foremost, and two, don't allow yourself to chase people that aren't ready to receive your love, that don't want your love, that don't know how to treat what you're handing them.
Okay,
So
can you say that again? Because I think people probably need to hear that again. I think that's very powerful.
no, it's just it's a very simple concept. It's like we all have a big love to give to the world, but you can't give it to someone who's not ready to receive it. You can't give it to someone who doesn't want it. And you shouldn't spend your time and energy chasing after someone who's not going to respect what you're trying to give them. So not exactly verbatim, but like that's the overarching message. The song is actually a reverse situation for me. I was dating this person. I say dating, it wasn't really dating. I was chasing after someone who really wasn't interested in me and someone who didn't really want to date me, but we were still fucking. You still technically led me on, but I don't like to say that you've led me on. You know, sort of like I was blindly following someone who just wasn't ready to receive what I was willing to give. And so
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's kind of the story. That's where like you lost your head trying to fall in love with me so hard. It's why are you chasing after me so hard when it's quite obvious that I'm not giving what you want in return? You know,
Yeah.
that's what those
Yeah.
lyrics are really about. So I'm technically speaking from that person's frustration and perspective, but also taking ownership of my own like actions and not paying attention to the obvious signs that they were giving me.
Mm-hmm. If you listen very carefully to the words in the song, you can hear that there's obviously a personal a touch to the song. It's not just fluff. There's some depth to the song.
Yeah, definitely. And that relationship, we sort of like strung each other along for a period of 4 years. You know, we both dated people, broke up with people, cheated on each other with people, different things like that. So that relationship was in its own way like toxic, but we kept coming back to it.
Mm-hmm. There's one line where you wrote, "I've been around the block so many times, I don't know where to start."
Yeah, I mean that kind of is a reference to everybody's kind of gone through a hoe phase. Like you get out of a relationship, you start sleeping around, like dating this person and talking to this person, and you got to get confused on where to like set your feet down and ground yourself. And now I want to prepare myself for a monogamous situation, or now I want to
Mm-hmm.
like really invest in this relationship with this person, but I've been doing this thing, this like sleeping around and like grinding and all this other type of stuff. And now you don't really understand yourself where to begin giving that
Mm-hmm.
a proper level of attention. And yeah, it's a difficult situation. I feel like it's something that's truly relatable because I've done it multiple times in my life.
Yeah. How you actually can focus on one person, how you can, like you say, are you ready to give your heart and love to one person, and are they ready to give it back? And that's what the song speaks to when you say, I'll say it again, don't say you love me if you don't know what it means. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they say that and they don't know what it means. And I've been in that place too, when you want to be loved and you want to give it back, but knowing what that means is very difficult. And I heard that in your song. There's two metaphors that you use as far as the set. One, it starts out as a courtroom scene. And I think sometimes it feels almost like being on trial. That is
Yeah.
this, am I on trial? Is this,
Oh,
what is it, should I be doing?
oh, you definitely are. Every relationship is kind of like walking into trial by fire and dealing with those situations. So just I don't even really know how to put it. Like the whole video concept came from a conversation with some friends about breaking someone's heart and if it was criminal, if it's a criminal act and like the amount of pain and stress and time and energy that we put into our relationships, and then for someone to cheat on you or lie to you, if that's actually criminal, and what would happen if in fact that were to go to trial. So that's where the
Mm-hmm.
conflict sort of like stems and grows from.
Yeah. And then the other metaphor that you use is there's some jail scenes. It's like being in jail. Am I ever going to get out of this metaphor of feeling like I'm in jail?
And that really does come from like being in a tumultuous relationship where you're not really sure if you want to be with this person or if you've just gotten into this person because of circumstance. So now you're in this thing, but you don't know how to navigate forward or out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a very good song. It's very well done. I'm glad we've got to chat about it. You should be very proud of it.
Thank
What's it like to make a music video? Because music videos used to be very static. There would be 20 seconds or so of the same thing, and now music videos, the clips move. At sometimes 1 or half a second or 2 seconds per the camera angle changes so quickly. So what's it like to make a music video these days?
Stressful. I totally consider myself an independent artist. I'm not signed. I don't really have a management team that's like working to make all these things come together. There's no like set budget for any of it. So for me, it was really walking to it, finding a lot of people through Instagram, finding a lot of people through Facebook who had specific expertise in like videography, and then shopping and finding my own sets on like peerspace.com and communicating with all these people. So it took months of planning and like 2 or 3 different concepts out the window before we settled on something that really fit.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the constant level of communication and working to like make all of these things happen when it's a one-man show is crazy difficult. It was stressful, but it was really beautiful. And I kind of, the only regret I have about the video is not really being able to be in the moment because I was trying to run everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I see the final product and I'm like, oh my God, I had so much fun that day. I don't think like, oh crap, I was stressed out because I wasn't sure if this was going to happen or if this person was going to show up. And I will say this much, like you said, it looks like I have a great place that I'm in. Like I work and live for a company called Haven Co-Living, and a good amount of the actors that are in the video were last minute fill-ins. Like all of my extras canceled on me the night before, and I had this amazing community to fall back on and like fill space and really make it all come to life as if it was intentional.
Mm-hmm. And I have to ask, in the video, you say MCM. Does that stand for Man Crush Monday? I had to Google it. I have to be a
It
nerd and
does.
ass.
It does. So yeah, those lyrics were actually written by Matt, who's the guest rapper on the song. And so yeah,
Okay.
he totally came up with that. And I was like, oh, that's fucking dope. I love it.
I'm always late to the party when it comes to those kinds of things. So all of this other stuff came up. So I wanted to make sure that was your Man Crush Monday. So
Oh yeah.
I'm going to have to be somebody's Man Crush Monday one of these days.
Oh, it's totally possible. You were never late to the party. You were in your own time frame.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What kinds of words, I'm asking everyone this, what kinds of words of encouragement can you give people during all of this crisis and isolation and uncertainty? What words of encouragement can you give people who are watching?
I mean, I would really just say take the moments of stillness and use them to your advantage. We all have skills, we all have hobbies, we all have things that we love and cherish. And now is the time to really just focus on it. We have the time, we have the energy. All we have to do is take our steps and focus on those things.
That's great. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. This has been a lot of fun. Is there anything, we're going to talk about where to find you online, but is there anything else I haven't asked that you wanted to share with us?
Not really. But one thing, initially this project was going to be a full album, but this
Okay.
entire year is kind of like taking me for a tailspin, especially with COVID. So we're kind of slow on production and other things. But I will be consistently releasing music throughout the entire year, working on getting more video content for people similar to No Love and some unplugged type of things. But yeah, just keep a watch out. There is so much more coming this year.
Okay. And then how do we find you online, social media, and all that stuff? How do people find you? Or we'll put it in the
So,
chat, but how do we find you?
oh yeah, so for anything and everything, the website is going to be the main staple. It's going to be where everything is first. It's going to be where everything's updated as quickly as possible. So jaymaqmusic.com. That's JAYMAQMUSIQ.com. So music with a Q. Aside from that, Jay Maq Music at Jay Maq Music on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. There will be different things being deployed, but I would say the main focus is on IG right now and the
Okay.
website.
Okay. And you're on YouTube. We found it on YouTube.
Yes, please go to
Yes.
YouTube. But the website leads you to everything. So like even the homepage has like the YouTube video right there. So check out the website because that's where you're gonna get everything. But YouTube, definitely pay attention to it. There will be so much more video content coming.
It's good. I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun, and the words are great. You've done a great job with it. You should be very proud of it.
Thank you.
Very proud of it. I've enjoyed talking to you. So hopefully
Yeah.
we can do some follow up and something fun and something, to connect with more. And thank you for sharing your personal story. That's really been nice.
Thanks. You guys have a good one.
All right. Well, stay safe and find something fun to do and send us a fun photo and we'll post it or whatever comes along.
All right, we'll do.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.